One, two, three, I'm live. Hi, how are you? Good morning. It is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. 21. I have to keep reminding myself of that. It's going to get to February and I'm going to say 2020 again. I know. We are here to practice Xingyiquan this morning, and I had a little issue, technical poo-poo. It's fixed. I'm here. Yay. So, moving on. Xingyiquan is literally form, mind, boxing. Xing is the outer form, shape. Yi, thought, mind, intent. All are part of this idea of Yi. Chuan, fist. So we have within Xingyi, and I don't say the full name most of the time, within Xingyi we have a number of different practices. The basic practice includes 5 elements, and then we have 12 animals, and we have linking forms, and there's 2-person sets, and there's a weapons set with a traditional sword as well as a weapon set with a long sword. Lots of upper body strength for that one. I don't do it. But the gentleman who taught me Xingyi, Liu Zhang, does. So I've seen him. I've tried. I tried to pick up his sword. It didn't happen. I'm doing mine. So we have a number of different things that we're going to work on in this series. The first one is basic standing practice. This is Santibu, or 3 points stance or 3-point standing. We're going to work on that a little bit. It focuses on the internal aspects of Xingyi, pertinent to anybody that's doing Tai Chi, Qigong, Bagua, Liu Bafa, any of the internal arts. This is helpful. It develops your stance. It develops ideally working ability to generate the large, small, and tiny heavenly circles. So large all the way through, small through the middle section, and tiny in the lower Tantian. We have with Xingyi we have a number of correspondences. So what's connected to what, how the practice is connected both externally and internally. Briefly, metal is P. So as we're practicing P Chuan, which is split, or we can think of it as an axe, the corresponding element is metal. Wood, metal, water, wood, fire, and earth is the creative cycle. So as we practice each element, we pay attention a little bit to these correspondences. There are also correspondences with the internal energy points, the dianshui from traditional Chinese medicine. There are also correspondences with the internal organs and the external organs. And there's a correspondence with color that is very interesting in looking at someone if their face is ashen, a little bit white, lack of color, and there's not skin color. This is the way that this person appears. There's potentially a problem with the lungs, and with the creative cycle, you want to develop greater strength in that area. In the destructive cycle, you're looking for where the weakness is, because that's where you gain your advantage. I practice over here on the creative side. 98% of the time I'm aware of what we need to do over here, but I practice over here. Alright, so let's get to it. Let me put my coffee. Coffee is still going to be very important to me. Oh wait, coffee. Coffee is good. I'm gonna get some props and prop. Now, I am hopeful that this is going to be visible. This is a ruler, and I'm hopeful that as I put it on the floor, it's at least going to be moderately visible, so that we can look at it in terms of what our oh yay, all right. This is a good way to think about how do you find where your stance is for Xingyi. We do the same for Tai Chi, we do the same kind of thing for Bagua, different method. You have to be able to find where your foot position is, and you need to be able to return to it reliably, consistently, pretty much every time. Alright? It takes practice. So, how do you find it? I have my heel, and this is by the way, this is an 18-inch ruler, right? So I have my heel at the back of the ruler, and if I use my own foot, I got 1, 2, 3, and pull it back by half. That's my stance. That's where my foot goes. And it should be roughly along the same line with the toes turned inward just a little bit. Just a little. Not a lot. Little. This is straight. This a little. That's straight. That's a little. That's a little. Just a little. No. No, don't do that. Here. Just a little bitty. All right? I've seen people do this. All right? So, as you're standing, put that away for a minute. The idea is you've got a straight line. Excuse me. You've got a straight line. Your heel is at one point on that line. As you step forward, your front foot, toes on the line, heel just a little outside. So, yes, there's my foot position, there's where my heel goes. I'm going to turn my toes just a little tiny bit, just a little bit. All right, I cannot emphasize that enough. I really can't. I really can't. This, unless I'm going in that direction, is not the correct step. No. I'm going this way. And this is something that we pay a lot of attention to in Xingyi, because Xingyi goes. And I'll show you what I mean by that. And we're just getting started, right? So with Tai Chi, right? I'm going to practice Tai Chi. Tai Chi has this nice, relaxing, I'm going to come forward and I'm going to shift back, and I'm going to come forward and I shift back. And it flows. It's supposed to. It flows like water, right? Continuous waves flowing to the ocean. Xingyi, on the other hand, just goes. It doesn't go back. It goes, right? So the direction that we're going matters, because you're going. If I'm here and I'm thinking to go in this direction, look at where my foot is. This foot can't go in this direction. It is not possible. Don't do it. Here. One more thing on the foot, and then I'm going to stop. And we'll move on to some other things. All right. Footwork gives you your balance, your placement, direction, momentum, everything that you're going to bring through the body to extend starts with your root. The root comes up through the feet and extends through the body. If you are ill-placed in doing whatever it is you're doing, you will hurt yourself. And if you don't immediately hurt yourself, you will not be able to gain the benefit from the exercise. There's always going to be something that's off. There's always going to be something that's not quite right. You're going to feel it, you're going to understand that something's there, and you won't know what it is. Body alignment matters. I'm going this way. There is no question that I could go this way. Where am I going? I can't go this way. I trip over my own leg. Am I go this way? Yeah, but this foot's not quite right for that. Don't do this. And in a broader sense, try not to do something if it doesn't feel right, and if it doesn't follow the basic principles, right? So with this step, how do you know beyond me telling you that it's not right? You know, I could imagine some people like, what does she know? She doesn't know anything about Xingyiquan. I probably know quite a bit more than some of those folks, but it's benefit of the doubt. All right? You don't have to depend on... I don't teach in such a way that it creates a dependency on me saying whatever it is. I teach in a way that you're going to look at the principle behind the form as you practice, and that's what's going to drive your practice. So what's the principle behind the form here? Body alignment. I'm going in the same direction as my feet. If I want to go this way, I can, but I'm going to change my position. The same as this other direction over here, the same as over here. Whichever direction I happen to be going, I am going to keep the relative position of my feet so that I can move. And that's key. Moving how? How do we move in Xingyi? What do we do? Tai Chi has that rolling movement. Xingyi is very direct. It just goes. Right? So how do we do that? How do we pay attention to that? And how does that connect to what the footwork is? I'm going, which direction am I going? Yes, I am beating up on this. Which direction am I going? And is my body capable? Is my body capable? Am I in a position so that my body is capable of moving in that direction all at once, all together, all at the same time? Can it? Is it possible? If it's possible, you can do it. If you're not in a good position, if you're not properly placed, if your foot's awry, if your body's turned off somewhere, if you're doing something odd with your hands, you cannot move all together, everything, all at once, in the same direction, at the same time. It sounds easier than it is. That's why we practice. Alright, so this idea that we have a foot position that needs to be correct, that there are some things that we can do that are fine, there are other things that we shouldn't do that are not fine, and how do we figure that out? As I'm here, I'm change legs, right? As I'm here, how do I determine whether or not I'm in a correct stance? How do I know? Back leg, 65 degrees, angle to the ground. So the angle between my knee, this angle, is roughly going to be 65 degrees. 60, 65. 60% of my weight is on the back leg. Hold from underneath. Front leg. I just beat up on that a whole bunch. Give or take 2.5 of your foot. So I pull it back. It's 1 foot. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Pull it back by half. That is roughly my stance. I might open it up a little bit more. I might close it a little bit more. But this is what I'm going to practice. This is what I'm going to return to. And yes, I am staying here, yes. All right. I have not asked you to do that yet. We're getting there. All right. Excuse me, I'm going to get a sip of coffee. And this is part of, again, this is part of practice. Not the coffee. This is the leg work. All right. So, I'm going to introduce a couple more things, but I'm going to ask you to do some of this as I'm talking. And I'll try and pay attention to the time so that it's reasonable. So, feet together. Okay? Stand straight. Just put your hands someplace. You can put them in front if you want. Put your hands, just get them out of the way. We're not doing hands right now. Just feet. Okay? Turn the right foot to 45. Okay, this is your line, right? Left foot, pick up to the toe. Put your heel where your toe is. Do it again. And then pull it back. Shift your weight onto the back leg. Okay, in this case, I'm on my right leg. You can be on your right or left, doesn't matter. We're going to do the other side. Alright. 60% of your weight on the back leg, 40% on the front. That means that the front leg is not empty. Front leg is not empty. Open through the hip so that in the back of the hip, okay, back of your hip, there's an opening there, right? You have muscles that cover it, right? The gluteals, gluteus maximus, minimus, medialis, there's a bunch of muscles that cover it. But it's relatively open back there. It's supposed to be. Let it open. Pull up through the midsection. Drop the tailbone. And open the Ming Men in the center of the back. We're going to keep going. Relax. Straighten. Change legs. Still paying attention to opening the hip, opening the Ming Men in the center of the back. This is the lower back. I'm going to turn around in a minute. I'm going to talk about that. This is part of the small heavenly circle It's also part of the large heavenly circle. It is the gate which is most likely to be closed. With Xingyi practice, particularly Santibu, we're going to focus on that circulation. As we do that, the gate needs to be open. Relax. If it's not, no circuits, it's like a kink in the hose. If it's not open, it ain't going to happen. All right, so right here, this area of the back, you need to drop the tailbone and let this open. You'll feel it. It's almost like a dropping a bolt out of a lock so that the door's going to open. That's really the image that we want. What we're doing physically is allowing the spine to drop into its natural alignment. The weight is suspended through the hip over the legs. And by dropping the hip, this hip sticks out. No. Hip is in. By dropping the hip, opening the space in the back, and allowing the tailbone to drop down, we can open this gate. And it feels really good, actually. And this is another one of my points. I talked about this before. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. All right, this exercise does require you build up some leg strength. To stay there for a minute and a half is a lot. And I'm going to count this out in just a second. We're going to do this. And I'm going to count it for 30. Not a minute and a half, just 30 seconds. All right. So it takes some leg strength to build up to where you're not struggling to stay there. Once you don't have to struggle to stay there, you can start paying much more attention to this internal work. And I'm going to connect the hands in just a second. First, we're going to do 30 seconds on each leg. All right? So, let me go. Yeah, I'm going to just keep going this way. Left foot front. All right? Right foot, 45, step, 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 pull it back. All right? Just leave your hands where they are. 60 in the back, 40 in the front. Stay there. And I'm going to count it out. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If it feels like you're, I need to come up, I need to do something, sink, go down. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, almost, 28, 29, 30. Change legs. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember to keep energy in both legs. Keep centered over your legs. Focus on keeping energy in both legs. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Rest. All right, I'm gonna get a little clock so we can pay attention to the. I built one for a presentation a while back. Online clocks. I did a countdown. So I may look at doing that for this. The goal as we're practicing, as we're standing here, right? What am I doing here? Lower part of my body, through the large heavenly circle, up through the Yongchuan, in the base of the foot, in between the toes, Yongchuan, pull up through the back, so back of the leg, through the back of the spine, all the way around, and return back. The heel sinks down, the arch of the foot pulls up, the outside of the leg pushes in, inside of the leg pushes out. So from here, this pushes in, from here, this pushes out. Heel pushes forward, toes push back, everything goes up, back is straight. Relax. There's a lot of work going on. It looks like you're just standing there, right? If you're actively working this one stance, the whole leg is engaged. I haven't given hands yet, so upper body we still need to work on. Hips, legs, knees, everything is engaged. Everything needs to be in good alignment. Shoulders over the hips, elbows with the knees, hands with the feet, hip over the heel, so that you don't do this. This doesn't make you go lower. It doesn't. This does. And for most of Xingyi, with a few exceptions, in some of the changes, we're not looking for how low can we work. We're focused on building the strength through the stances and on this idea that everything goes in the same direction all together, all at the same time. There is no, and there's really no question about it. There's no question. There it is. All right. So with Xingyi practice, I'm going to start with the hands now. With our practice, we're going to pay attention to, again, this idea of connecting the large heavenly circle, the small heavenly circle, and the tiny heavenly circle. We have the center in the palm, the Laogong, that we're going to connect with the upper Tantian and the middle Tantian, depending on which hand is where. Right? So, upper hand, middle Tantian, lower hand, lower Tantian. Whichever side it is, that's the relationship. And it stays along the center line. Okay? Especially as we're practicing Santibo, we are very much focused on this center line. So everything on that center. As we engage the hands, the body turns just slightly. Again, this is not, let me go over here, right? This is just a little bit. Just a little bit. Toward the inside hand. My inside hand. My outside hand. Inside hand over here. Outside hand over here. Right? Inside hand. And turn just a little bit. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Just a teeny bit. we use this as we're practicing the 5 basic elements. So we're going to use this stance. We're going to do this in a minute. Right here. Alright. With me. 15 seconds each side. Hands and feet. Okay? So the upper hand, middle Tantian. Nice slope from the shoulder down to the wrist. Not up here. Right? Nice slope. Strength as the hand comes out. We're in Xingyi now. We're being. It's not pretty and nice. It's strong. The hand position for this. My wrist is flat. My wrist is up a little bit. This is good for Tai Chi. Up a little bit more. This is good for Bagua. All the way up. Xingyi. So set the wrist so that as you extend, the palm is flat. Close as you can get. Okay? Both hands go in the same direction at the same time. Everything's going all together, all at once, all at the same time. Lower hand, lower Tantian. Space between the arm and the upper chest. Know this. You lock your arm, you can't do anything with it. Right? Drop the elbow, drop the wrist, with the idea that this hand can push forward. Both hands along the same line. Here's my center line, here's my nose. Straight down the center line. Hands find that center line. Both hands along the center line. Same with the feet, right? That center line. Find the center. Sink into the back leg. Both hands to the front. I'm on my back leg, right side. Stay there. Both hands press out. And have a sense of extend outward. You're not moving, but you want that sense that you could. Both hands go forward. Stay there. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Change. Other side. Check your position. Front hand, middle Tantian, lower hand, lower Tantian. Am I turned just a little bit? Am I turned too much? I have my weight in the right place. And 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. You should feel a little bit in the front part of the leg from pulling up to support the weight of the body and the weight of the leg. You should feel a little bit in the back part of the leg from supporting the weight. This is fundamentally our 3 points practice that gives us, it sets us up for what we're doing with the 5 elements in Xingyi. So without being able to find this center and return to it, practice is always going to be off. It's not going to be good. There are any number of sets that we do that rely on this idea of following this center line. It's a fundamental for Xingyi, just as being able to walk the circle is a fundamental for Bagua. So we have a few things that are special to each of the arts, and we have some things that cross over from each to the next. These use of the small heavenly circle, tiny heavenly circle, large heavenly circle in practice, focusing on the internal workmanship, using the physical body, opening up the physical body so that the movements become possible. All right? Pichuan is the first of the 5 elements in the creative cycle. Pichuan is metal. And Pichuan uses what we've just learned. So do all the other elements, but in particular. All right? So, I'm here. I'm going to start. All right? This is what we just practiced. Back leg, front leg, back leg 60%, back leg 6, front leg 4, hand position. I'm going to close I'm going to talk about this in more detail, but I'm going to close my hands, close the fist, create the fist, pull into the lower Tantian. Left foot and left hand extend. Step up. Right hand comes across. Both hands down with the front and close the back. All right? Xingyi stepping takes this forward. I'm going forward. This is where I'm going. We're not playing with that. All right? So as I step through, I'm going this way. My hands go with my front foot, not with my back. The back foot closes and extends the energy. Hands come down with the front foot. I've exaggerated that so you can see it. That's more correct. There is a breath element that goes with, so we're coordinating the breathing with the movement. There is a timing element that I just spoke about, this idea that the hands come with the front foot, not with the back. No. I'm going to do it wrong again. This is wrong. My hands are late. Hands with the front foot. By the time I close here, this is solid, right? The motion of the hands. And I've talked a lot about the legs, talked about the position of the hands. And I haven't talked about the stepping method, and I haven't talked about a bunch of things yet. All right. So as I'm here for Pichuan, just the hands. Both hands come in. Excuse me, I'm going to step up. Both hands come in. Here. Start with the little finger. Close the hand. As you close the hands, pull in to the lower Tantian. Both hands here, both hands hold fist. All right? I'm here. Close. and pull in. This has a sinking, excuse me, this has a sinking motion within the body, so it's not as much, I'm going to sink, as it is settling into the legs in the very same manner as if you're going to pull back a bow. You're going to let it go. This is very much what we're doing with our step. Right? I'm here. I'm going to pull into the back leg, sink, let it go. As you step through, right, we have pull in, extend, this goes out, this foot comes across, and it actually does rub across the arm a little bit. I'm not doing so much because I have a sweater on, but both arms turn over, come down with the front foot, close the back. Come across, turn, and down. Down along the center line, and there's some smaller movements that are going on within this one movement that I'm going to put aside for just a minute. I'm going to mention that there are 3 directions that we're using with this one movement. The apparent movement is down. The other 2 are in and out. All right? I will talk about that a little bit more in detail another time. I'm going to stop here for today. Review real quickly. We have 3 points practice, both sides, with the idea that everything focuses on this one center line. This is one line, everything along that center line. That the weight distribution, 6 to the back, 4 to the front, keeping the body centered and working to open, particularly the Mingmen, the gate right here at the base of the spine. I'll talk about the other centers, the lower Tantian, middle Tantian, upper Tantian, and the 3 gates, as well as the Bai Hui and the Huiyin, another time. Okay, those are all connections that we need to have for the small heavenly circle. Lower Tantian is, yeah, it's going to be an ongoing because there's so much going on with that as we're practicing. All of the forms, just as with the other internal arts, all of the forms rely on what we're doing with the lower Tantian as we are moving through the form. The lower Tantian helps generate some of the energy that we're using. It's the Qi Hai, the sea of Qi. And with the 3 points practice, we're developing that. That's the goal of that practice, is to develop greater ability and a greater reservoir. That's a good word. Reservoir is a good word. A greater reservoir of Qi that we can use. And then as we're practicing, to be able to use it and to create more. This is a very useful practice for several different kinds of health problems. as well as the strengthening practice and the overall martial arts practice. So I hope you'll join me next week. We're going to do this again, a little bit more. Each time I want to introduce all 5 of the elements: metal, water, wood, fire, and earth. And yeah, maybe just a little bit of the animal forms in this series. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Bye. Next week. Tomorrow is Qigong.